So, I mean, there are multiple layers. So the one layer really is about me finding myself and finding my purpose. And for a very long time, I think, because I had a mother who was a physician and she was in academics, I think that's all I knew. And I think that's all I knew of what the success looked like. And it was, I was at NYU. I'm very public about this. And, I was probably one of two, often only Black faculty in my department, some of the largest emergency medicine departments in New York City. And I was just shopping along, doing what I thought I was supposed to do, doing education research. I had, developed our first emergency ultrasound curriculum for their medical school. I developed the ultrasound fellowship for our department. I thought I was doing what I was told all these things that are successful. And then in 2017, I was handpicked based on the work I had done during medical school for a role in the Office of Diversity Affairs. And I was so excited along this role. And I had come to find out it was just a figurehead role. Mm-hmm. And I never felt so demoralized in my life. And not only was I not expected to do anything in that role, but I also was under a microscope and I was silenced and muzzled in that role. And I felt like I was suffocating. And I don't know if you ever look back on pictures of really trying times. Or I've battled pictures from when I was there. I lost a lot of weight. I wasn't sleeping. I had dark circles under my eyes. And so when I think about us often in these environments, I think academia is one of them. These are environments where I talked about this often. We often forget that we have gifts to share and that not only yet, but we are the gifts to these environments. But because of the culture, right? You forget that. I got to a point where I thought I was stuck. And people look at you and say, how could you make it stuck? Right? But you feel stuck. And I had to make this really hard decision. I said, you know what? I think I want to leave. And I'd actually been offered, I don't write about this in the book, but I was offered Associate Dean of Diversity at Harvard Medical School around the same time I was thinking about leaving. And I was just like, nah, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm so done with it. And it was interesting. So I left in December of 2019. I went to NYU, working urgent care and on my business. And, then spring 2020 hits and but I stayed the course. I started writing about what I was seeing in clinical practice. I became one of the first voices to start writing about racial health inequities in the pandemic. I started writing op-eds and then a few op-eds targeted to radio and TV interviews. And then I got my MSNBC contract. And then my book contract, people ask me, how did you even write a book? My literary agent, she followed me on Twitter. She used to listen to me on the radio. And I say this because when you are in alignment, with your purpose and you're doing what you need to do, the people who see you will need to see you. You just need to keep doing what you're doing. And so I feel like leaving NYU was truly a life-saving decision. And I don't say, I like telling everyone it's productive. It does. But out that, it's very deeply personal decision, but I tell us to really always ask yourself, am I in alignment with this environment? Is this environment supporting me? Can I thrive here? Right? Not, I really want to be here. No. They are so lucky to have us, Stan. So lucky. And they can't forget that.
And your mother's instruction was to put yourself first.
Yes. My mother's instruction. I write about in the book how, from when my mother was diagnosed with leukemia. So I was, that was my sophomore year of college in the fall. And then she died the following summer. So she lived for about 9 months from her diagnosis on. And that time, it felt like limbo because I knew she just wasn't responding to the chemotherapy. And I would have a lot of conversations with her from college. I just call her on the phone because I think I don't know the last conversation I'm going to have with her. So one time I asked her, Mommy, what is something I should know when I get older? And she said, even when you have your babies,
make sure you take care of yourself. You always get yourself first. And I feel like she said that because she never did that. Like now looking back, so the 19-year-old, my mom was just like, but now at the same age my mother was when she died. And now I can see her for all the complexity that she was, right? Being someone's partner, being a parent, being a mentor, being in position, all that she carried. Yeah. That was a lot.
Yeah. Yes. And then summer. I think that the people here have questions that they are dying to get out. And so I want
Can I just see you only okay. So the other thing that got me through like really trying time is my amazing therapist, Dr. Shaniqua Anderson, who literally has held me down like the last 6 years. And she's here. Literally, I would not, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here without you. Like there were times that she always believed in me. So find yourself with Dr. Shaniqua.
I think that's their sign off. So, questions that you have for Dr. Blackstock that you want to invite the rest.
Hi, Dr. Blackstock.
Just make sure everybody can hear. Thank you.
I really, really loved your book. It actually took me longer to read it because I had to pause and month it because it just resonated with me. I'm a pharmacist. I was trained as a clinical pharmacist at the Manhattan VA. But after I finished my residency and I got a job offer, because of my experiences doing that residency at the Manhattan VA and also at the Bronx VA, I decided not to practice pharmacy because I felt like I did not need my life to be impacted by people's biases, their racist comments, the subtleties of it all and trying to figure it out. So I had other plans. You set it up a little quickly. But so my question for you is, at the end of your book, you talk to different stakeholders and you give them, pearls of how we should improve, the healthcare systems, the policy, how we treat patients, how white doctors see Black patients, and all of those things. What's happening today? How do you feel about it? You put all that effort into trying to help move everybody along, but here we have this administration that's really taken us way back. So how does that make you feel?
Thank you so much for asking that. But I also want to hear what you do now. Okay. But it's so interesting because when I wrote the book, I started writing in 2021, right? So even though the book came out in 2024, and I thought to myself, this book is going to be evergreen. But actually, I think it's even more relevant now. People are like, oh, what are you reaching out? Oh, I'm going to stand on like 10 toes down, like, nothing has changed. But I think what is, in this moment, what is really important, this is important, right? Community is important. I would say, I posted the other day on social media that, community is the opposite of chaos. Like, they want us to be scared. They want us to be isolated. But you know what? We have each other, right? And so, I would say choose one or two things, whether it is within your affinity group, pharmacy organization, the Black pharmacists, but we are making sure that we are not going to be isolated. We're going to coalition builds. We're going to community builds. We're going to reach out to our legal colleagues to find out what are ways that we can get around these policies, because while we have not been in this exact moment before, our people have been here before, right? And they have not given up, right? So we kind of keep going. Okay, so tell
So I decided to start poetry in high school since I'm from New Orleans, went to Xavier. But since I lived in the tri-state area, I was like, well, you have a conversation shopping in each of the states. So I started out working in drug safety. And pharmacovigilance helped me to monitor adverse events for the drugs, making sure that as a company, we did what we do to report any adverse events to the FDA. Then ultimately, I use just foundational customer facing, working with physicians, thought leader, and kind of bridging the gap within the pharmaceutical company. But right now, I'm training. I'm not an affiliate. Like did that for about 20 years, but I'm also the co-lead for our Black and Latinx ERG. I work for a small biopharmaceutical company